Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this slightly different video. We're going to talk about the WrestleMania build because there's been a lot of conversation around that during our watch-alongs. I don't think this has been very good. I have been saying that it's not very fair to compare this to last year, and I still stand by that. Because I think last year was exceptional with finishing the story and what with it being WrestleMania 40 and The Rock being around. There really was a lot that made last year so special. But even not comparing to last year and just comparing to what I would deem a normal WrestleMania build, this does really lack a lot of wow moments, OMG moments. I made the comment the other day, if you was to take Elimination Chamber and everything that had happened at Elimination Chamber away from this build, what are you really left with when you just look at Raw and Smackdown? Because it doesn't feel like those shows have been delivering those big OMG moments, that we kind of look back on the video packages. So obviously we've still got a little way to go. And there is a group of people out there that love to keep saying, be patient. As soon as we get past the European tour, it's going to kick off. But at what point have you had enough time? At what point do you look at it and go, this isn't quite hitting the mark? February didn't deliver. There was a lot of backlash there. I think even Triple H kind of responded afterwards with that line of, does it feel like WrestleMania season now after John Cena turned? And that's because he's aware of where the conversations are. So with us constantly coming back to this topic and with this being a question that comes up a lot, I said what I would do is a separate video on it, right? Because I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of it? Am I alone? I mean, I think this is underwhelming. I think there is still time for good moments, but I mean, I think February was a write-off. It looks like March is going to be a write-off. So really, WrestleMania is the Rumble, Elimination Chamber, couple of bits here and there, and whatever we get in April. That's pretty much WrestleMania season. And just doesn't feel like that's enough, It just doesn't feel like that is kind of in line with all the hype of us going to Netflix and this being a new era and Triple H in charge, and he's always cooking, and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, what do you think about it? What do you like? I mean, let's not just be negative. What do you think has been good? What have you enjoyed? What has frustrated you? And what are you hoping to see as we move into these final weeks? So, we had about 29 replies, right? 29 replies. And so we will just get through all of them. I'm going to stay until we get through all of them. So, William, shout out to you. So, Cena Cody has been a horrible build. No final boss. Cena sounds like a bipolar guy having a midlife crisis with all the I'm being used and abused. No real confrontations, just Cena walking away. There is a lot of criticism there that they've not had a back and forth. I have had people saying, but why would they? Cena doesn't want to give the fans what they want. My response to that is, well, that's not making for great shows, is it? I think we're kind of not seeing the woods for the trees. We're kind of cutting our noses off to spite our faces. You want people to tune in to these shows because they want to see what's next in the story. If John Cena is going to repeatedly not deliver anything extra because we don't deserve it, and so the story is not going to be progressing, I don't see why that should be celebrated or why this should be seen as clever. You are not entertaining the fans or giving them, the best segments that you could, and instead you're going with the line, well, Cena doesn't think the fans deserve that, and that's just meant to be accepted, applauded. I don't know. To me, it's just you're ruining your own show when these segments could be so much better. And actually, Cena's got one more advertised appearance, which is this week, and we don't know that we're going to see him again before WrestleMania. This could be it. Whatever we get Monday could be it. Punk Seth Roman has had the best build, but sadly Roman feels like the third wheel instead of the main character. WWE built him up over the last so many years, but I still acknowledge my OTC though. Jay Gunther is so unbelievable that if Jay wins, it's going to feel like creative hired Vince Russo again. Horrible disrespect of EO is a terrible way to build the WrestleMania match, and a three-way is such a cop-out. Tiffany and Charlotte will be a banger, but the build is helping Tiff and Charlotte is so unlikable, she doesn't even make a heel you like to hate. Very sad no Wyatt 6 or Alexa at all. Even a surprise at Mania or Raw after, I fear, won't be enough to restart the momentum. Well, I slightly disagree there, because I think that there's been a lot going on behind the scenes with injury and illness, and now we're on the European tour, and I sort of feel like we're waiting for this to finish, and then we're going to get stuck into something. I feel like we'll probably get Alexa and Nikki in a tag match at WrestleMania. We might get Judgment Day coming down. We might then get Wyatt 6 back. And actually the Wyatt 6 with Alexa standing together in the ring at WrestleMania, kind of sending a message out of we're back, makes me think that that could give them some momentum after WrestleMania. I'm still not off the hope train. It's not even a hype train anymore. It's a hope train. I'm not off the hope train yet, because I think that there's been a lot going on behind the scenes. You know, rumors of an illness to Braun when he was going to be working with them. Rumors of a delay in contracts and contract issues in regards to Alexa when she was going to be coming in earlier than she did. Injury to Bo Dallas, which seems to have wiped him out for like 3 months. So I think that's, you know, quite significant. So I think, yeah, there's been a lot of disruption. There's been a lot of trouble behind the scenes. I think that if we can get them all together in the ring and make it an impactful moment, I'm hopeful that will be the momentum. And we can kind of kick off then as we head into Backlash. But yeah, I mean, look, if we do that, the booking from that point has got to be 1,000,000 times better. And that's not even an exaggeration. 1,000,000 times better than what we've seen so far. The rest all feels unimportant. At the moment, I feel this will be the worst Mania since 36. And at least they had Bray Undertaker to carry it. So those are William's thoughts. Thank you, William. Kelly the Wise Lady said, Daze, I think the WrestleMania build so far sucks. It does not feel like Mania season. Kind of like how it doesn't feel like holiday season in November, December. There's no real fiery feuds except for Cody Cena. Now, you do have Roman, Seth, and Punk, but it's not as hot as it should be by now. I just feel like these feuds are lukewarm. Promos with Cody and Cena are getting tiresome. There's no fire. I can't say there is much that I like right now. What frustrates me is if they are going to put the Wyatts at Mania. It's starting off too late. We need a proper build. I don't think we will. I don't think we're going to get them in a match. I could see it being a case that Alexa goes after Liv, and Liv then wants to get her hands on Alexa. Alexa needs a partner. Maybe Nikki makes her presence fair. Like, we could do that over a couple of weeks, and we're going to have to do that over a couple of weeks if that's the match we're going to be getting. But the actual Wyatt 6, I'm not sure we'll see them until WrestleMania. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed we even see them at WrestleMania. I mean, it could be we don't even see them there and we actually just use them after Mania. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we get them at Mania. It's starting too late. We need a proper build. I'm hoping they have a better plan for them than what we've had so far. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's no fear of them. They're being taken as a joke. Bo was injured, but there were still 4 other characters. Bo could have been commanding them to do his work. The stalemate has hurt them, and they better have a dynamite plan to get interest back. I'm with them, ride or die. The potential is there. As we move into the final weeks, I need to see more fuel on the fires. I want to see some clues, cryptic messages from the Wyatt Six. I want to see less of Cena saying, you all suck, and I'm doing this for me, and more trash talk between him and Cody. I need less predictability, more holy shiz moments, and I want to see Jay get rage. He needs it. If he plans on beating Gunther, he needs that fire within. Yeeting with the audience isn't going to beat Gunther. Finally, I want to see WWE stop censoring every little thing and a little more brutality. I know why they're doing it, but kids these days need to stop being coddled by mommy and learn what an ass beating looks like. Mic drop. Kelly, shout out to you. She picked the mic back up. She did drop it, but she picked it back up. I forgot some at Daze. I want to see Howdy darker and scarier, and that god-awful hair gone. Go back to the dreads. Kelly, thank you. Lots to digest there. Swerve Show said, I think Raw SmackDown shows being shown at different times due to location has made me miss several of them, and I'm not really caring or understanding the build to the matches. That's really interesting. I wonder if there are fans that have missed shows because they've been on in the day, and so as a result, it's kind of just passed them by. Nathan said, I think the build has been pretty mid. Cena Cody has been okay, but I would really like to see a massive segment. Rest of the card looks good. AJ Logan has massive potential. I'm excited for it, but I give it a 6 for the builds. Up compelling storytelling. Mitchell said, I like the Cena heel turn, not fully given up on it, because we have part 3 on Raw. If we get The Rock or some story, it'll be good. Jay Gunther and Bianca Io Rhea story has been horrible, and I feel like all mid-card tag titles are just going to be multi-people matches. Bradley said, not going to lie, I'm not enjoying the build so far. Nothing really is appealing to me. Also, I don't know how you top the build of WrestleMania 40. The build for WrestleMania 40 was so good, it's going to be hard to make the rest of the WrestleMania 41 build good. Well, it is true. I think it's a bit unfair to compare to that. I think 40 was like an anniversary show, like every 10 years, you know, WrestleMania 1. Historic WrestleMania 10, you know, going back to the Garden, who was going to be champion, Lex Luger or Bret Hart. They'd both won the Rumble. There was 2 title matches, ladder match for the first time. We had a ladder match before, but I think it was like a home video exclusive. It was sort of like a dark match thing. So for many people, that was the first ladder match that they'd seen in WWE. So, you know, there was a lot going on there. And we were at Madison Square Garden, the spiritual home of WWE. Same with 20 as well. We went back to the Madison Square Garden. We got the return of the Dead Man, Eddie Guerrero, celebrating with, unfortunately, Chris Benoit. But that was because those guys were really being invested in at that time. Lots of star power on that show as well. John Cena on that show. I believe it's his first WrestleMania. WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan. So WrestleMania 40, obviously 30 end of the streak. WrestleMania 40 is special. It is different. It isn't really fair to compare to that. But can we at least get something that makes us go, oh my God, this is amazing. This is cinema and all that kind of stuff, you know? Do you remember there was even a video of Roman and Cody pulling up to a field? And I believe that this was them last year pulling up to a field, and they were stood in the middle of the field. All the cars had arrived and they were having like a few final words in the middle of a football field. We haven't even had any of those kind of cinematic vignettes, you know? And maybe part of that is because of the European tour. Don't know. But Bradley, thank you. Really appreciate the words. Chris said, Daze, so far, not so good. I think they need to stop telling us after the Rumble that we're on the road to Mania. Of course, the Cena turn finally happened about 10 years too late. But I am enjoying seeing CM Punk will get his main event. Looking forward to seeing if we get Solo versus Jacob. Muggsy said, I'm not expecting anything other than just a good Mania. I'm trying to tame my expectations after last year's WrestleMania because it was so good. Right now, the build has been subpar, but we've still got time to start cooking something amazing. Only thing I'm worried about is Cena's next promo. Nando said the shows feel very miserable outside of one key segment and one great match. Wyndham is Eternal said the build has been very dull so far. None of the announced matches have me very excited, but hopefully they'll at least turn out to be entertaining to watch. I think the European tour has impacted the build. The tour should have been between Rumble and Elimination Chamber, and not everyone is on the tour. It's a really good point, and actually, I don't disagree. February was pretty mid anyway. I don't think anyone's looking back at February with much fondness. Everyone was like, where's the WrestleMania builds? And we kept saying, gotta get past Chamber, gotta get past Chamber. So why not put the tour there, you know? Why not put the tour there? Or even better, after WrestleMania, and try and make all of the shows better. You know, try and make the build better. Then we do WrestleMania, and then we go on a European tour. Taker 1990 said the build-up is not bad. Like you said, it's not Mania 39 and or 40. The lineup of matches are good. I'm still going to Mania. I've spent too much money to not go. The frustrating element is the lack of the Wyatts and Alexa going into Mania. But John and Cody should do a teaser brawl soon, says Taker 1990. Well, even if the build is underwhelming, it does not mean that the show will be underwhelming. So I certainly, if you have tickets, wouldn't be sat there like, oh, you know, not looking forward to it. I think the show's going to be good. It's still WrestleMania, and Triple H's WrestleManias have all delivered. So I still think this show is going to really, really deliver. But yeah, I think it's very interesting that even though you're going, you, like you say, it's not quite 39-40. Even you can like recognize that, you know. I appreciate the fact you've not been blinded to the fact that it's not quite those levels. Wrestling Junkie said, in the next few weeks, I'm hoping Liv gets a story. Alexa gets involved somehow. Cena gets hurt. Punk should be heel in a match with Cody. Drew also deserves better. I can't explain in detail on X, but creative is dropping the ball big time. Brian said it's been a very mild build-up at best. Everything feels either rushed or predictable. Maybe because I'm irritated with Alexa and the Wyatts being non-existent. I keep hoping the waiting will pay off, but I keep getting let down. Carl said apart from the Cena heel turn at Elimination Chamber, which was fire, and the European crowds, it's been a bit of a snooze, according to Carl. Jesse said it's lacking, but there is a buzz for a few feuds. Charlotte versus Tiffany will be good. I think Liv deserves to be on the card. I don't think they're spending enough time to make it seem special or exciting. With the cost of tickets, I hope it delivers some memorable moments. Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will, but... Jello Man said, hoping it's like WrestleMania 31 where everyone's expectations were low because the build wasn't good and the hype wasn't completely there, and it turns out to be amazing. Wrestling Junkie said, Jey Uso, frustrations, what's going on with Liv? She deserves a main event with her performances lately. So much talent in the locker room, and for some people... For some reason, people get hyped about old-timers that barely wrestle. Zero storylines that are worthwhile. Dark Phoenix Tease said the women have had a better build for this WrestleMania, with the exception of Tiffany versus Charlotte. The storytelling for the men has been lackluster. I hope they pick things up, especially Jay versus Gunther. Big Mike Talk said there's definitely a lack of hype. The only thing I'm looking forward to is Bianca versus Io versus Rhea. The rest feels not WrestleMania worthy. Jason said the build to WrestleMania is below par. Not enough amazing moments. Don't get me wrong. Heel John Cena, that's my favorite build. But what frustrated me is the lack of build to WrestleMania 41 compared to Mania 40. It's just faded, and it's been flat. But we do have Kevin and Randy. Wrestling Junkie said, as you can tell, I'm passionate. It's truly upsetting. Obviously, Cena getting hurt was a joke. Okay, here we go. So, I know how people can take these out of context, but I think the show would benefit without him. He shouldn't be fighting Cody at all. If anything, he should have won the Rumble and stayed face. As much as I love giving Jay what he deserves. Wrestling Junkie, I respect. I like the fact you put a comment and then you've come back going, oh, I can't just leave it there. Johnny says, nah. Cena-Cody interactions so far is making kiddo fans understand that Cena is a heel. And it is very cringe from an adult perspective. Yeet Mania is also for the kids. Only story I care about now is whether Punk gets to main event or not. Las Vegas Matt said, to be honest, I have no doubt WrestleMania will be good, but doing a road to WrestleMania on a European tour means that the storylines are lacking, combined with wrong winners for the Rumble and the Chamber for the women and arguably the men. Not a fan of the lineup, but it'll still be a good Mania. Larry is... Okay, got you. Struggling. Larry, shout out to you. And we've only got 2 more left. I said we would get through all of them, and I knew that we would. We're pretty good at getting through about 30, 40 comments. Okay, so we got OP3-Way said, it's definitely been lacking relative to last year. And I don't just mean the lack of Dwayne. That being said, I hope we get one more big gun from Cena and Rock before Mania. Cena's promos running the risk of getting samey. And I have to believe there's more. Well, fingers crossed there's more. There's one more advertised segment. I think there will be a lot of frustration if it is just the same thing. I fully expect, and this might come back to bite me, but I fully expect after Raw on Monday to say, that's better. That's more of what we were looking for. I really think that's coming. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I really think that's coming. I'm anticipating saying, that's better. That's what we should have had last week. You know, that's what I think I'll be saying, but... Howdy said, to be honest, the European tour should have happened after WrestleMania, but I know the Wyatt Six are returning before WrestleMania, but I don't think we are not going to get a feud between the Wyatts and Judgment Day. I hope the Wyatts get drafted back to Raw. It's a boring show without them. So a lot of sadness around the Wyatt Six. A lot of sadness around not having Alexa kind of around yet. Obviously, the kind of criticisms we expect about Cena. A few positive thoughts in there, though. A lot of optimism about WrestleMania. People saying they think that card is still going to deliver, even though the card maybe doesn't blow them away. But a lot of the same themes and the same thoughts that it's not quite hitting the mark. It's not quite living up to expectation. And that's honestly really sad. It's really sad. I mean, I can only hope that WWE are seeing this and learning from this, because we've tried something new, which is doing this European tour this side of WrestleMania. And I don't think it's worked. I think the crowds have been great, and I think there should be a big European tour, but not immediately before WrestleMania. It kind of feels like it would go without saying, but apparently not. So hopefully they do change that next year. And I don't know, there's a rumor going the rounds that we might not be getting any Rock in the builds, and that might be why they're just not mentioning him, because we don't want to focus on that, and we want to get the crowd turned on John. And we want John's relationship with the fans to be at the forefront. We don't want it to be about The Rock. That's kind of something that's done the rounds. So, I don't know. I can't say I'm going into Monday expecting The Rock, but there was word that he was expected to be on one of these international Raws. 2 weeks in, we've not had him. So, will he be at London? All eyes on London. In fact, all eyes on SmackDown as well, because we are going to be getting Punk and Roman and Seth in that contract signing. So I think, you know, if nothing else, that'll be interesting. And then seemingly the final Cody and Cena segment before WrestleMania on Monday. So big weekend coming up. Let's see how it goes. Really appreciate the feedback, though. Hope you enjoyed this bonus video as we talk about the WrestleMania builds. And listen, people are right. There is still a bit of time left. April could be bananas. And maybe if April is bananas with lots of shock moments and really fun stuff, maybe March and February will just be a distant memory. But so far, there are concerns. So there we go. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it as always. And I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.